Good morning, students of class 10. Welcome back to the online classes. We were doing the making of a global world. We have reached 3.4, the Great Depression. In our previous class, we have talked about many factors, about productions, about the war, and now here number one, the depression was caused by a combination of several factors. There were many factors for the cause. Many factors led to Great Depression. What were the causes? In our previous class, I have talked about and we have discussed about overproduction and the loan during the war times. They have taken loan from USA, European countries, and overproduction from America, Australia, Canada. They exported food grains to European countries. So now let's talk about the first cause, agricultural overproduction. Once the war ended, the Eastern Europe started producing food grains, and at the same time the food was imported from Australia, Canada, America, so there was a glut in the market. Overproduction was the problem and made worse by falling prices. As the production boomed, naturally the prices of the food grains fell down. Farmers tried to expand production in order to make up for the loss, hoping that they will make up for the loss. They borrowed money, they took loans from the banks and invested in agriculture. Farmers tried to expand production by getting loans from the banks to make up for the loss, because in the market the prices fell down, decreased. So in order to make up for the loss, they took loans from the bank and expand production, so that hoping that they will make up for the loss. This worsened the glut in the market. This created more bad situation in the market, pushing prices even further down. The prices of the food grains decreased further. Farm produce, food grains rotted everywhere, in the godowns, in the shops, in the harbor. Farm produce rotted for a lack of buyers. There were no buyers. Nobody wants to buy food grains because it was so cheap. Everyone had it. So due to lack of buyers, farm produce, food grains rotted everywhere. This is the first, overproduction. You can see that. Second, in 1920, many countries financed their investment. We have learnt about the First World War, 1914 to 1918. During that period, they have borrowed war materials and loan from America. And the war ended in 1918. Now they require money to construct factories, to build infrastructure or repair the roads, and they took loan again from America. You can see in 1920, just after the World War ended, many countries from Europe financed their investment through loans from USA. They got loans from USA and financed in industries, construction of industries, repairing of infrastructures, roads, bridges, and so on. Finance. They invested their investment through loans from USA. They got the loan from USA. And USA supplied them freely. So, US overseas lenders panicked at the first sight of the trouble. America and its companies abroad, they panicked at the first sight of the problem. What was the first sign? All the European countries are taking loan from the banks. American banks, that was in America or in Europe. In Europe also American banks were there. They took loan from the American banks and they realized that the banks, they had no money. At the first sign of this problem, they panicked. Countries that depended on USA loans faced an acute crisis. You can see that. The countries that borrowed loan from America, once America stopped providing loans, they find it very difficult now. The factories were half constructed. They hoped that, these European countries hoped that once the factory will start, will produce and we pay back the loan. But in the middle of the construction, the American government stopped providing loans. Now the factories are not constructed, the money was stuck there. The factory could not produce anything, so the countries could not repay the loan on time because the infrastructure was not built properly, it was half constructed. The money was stuck there. And the European countries who depended on USA loans faced an acute crisis because the loan, American government, they stopped providing loan, and their construction was only half. It was not completed. So in Europe, it led to the failure of major banks in Europe, major big banks. It failed, bankrupt. There was no money in the bank because most of the people or industrialists, they have taken away the loan as a loan. So the bank had no money. There was a bankrupt, failures. Many banks closed down. In Europe, it had led to the failure of major banks. The value of British pound also crashed. The British pound and sterling crashed. Their value came down. The money was stuck. Where? As food grains, as half-constructed buildings and factories. The money was stuck there. That money cannot be, that money cannot produce more money. It was stuck as a food grain and half-constructed infrastructure. So the value of British pound also crashed. America tried to protect their economy because the banks run dry, bankrupt. There was no money. They have provided loans and they are not paying it. How can they pay it? Because the factories are half constructed, not fully constructed. How they will pay the money now back? So the countries who took the loan, they could not pay in time. So naturally, USA tried to protect their economy by raising import taxes from other countries where the goods came. American government raised the taxes. So this created further problems in the world market. There also, it created a big problem. The world market also faced great crisis, problems. So money was stuck everywhere. So that was the causes of the Great Depression. So all the countries were affected. Even India was also affected at that time. So now you can see that these are the causes of the Great Depression. So remember now, you may be asked, what are the causes of Great Depression? It's an important question. You remember these things, try to understand. If you don't have the book, you note down. If you have the book, go through this 3.4 and learn the causes. In our next class, we'll talk something more about it. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching the video. Stay safe and do your regular studies and make a habit of going through the online portal every day so that we can proceed further and do not have a problem later on. So that's all for today.